In a world shrouded by ancient traditions, a young witch battles the fear that binds her to the shadows of her village. Will she find the courage to break free from the chains of expectation? The heart of magic lies not just in spells, but in the connections we dare to forge. The village of Eldermore thrived in secrecy, where witches lived among whispers and shadows. Fear of the unknown kept them bound to their traditions, suffocating the very magic they cherished. But one among them, the brave witch Elara, dreamed of change. Elara often wandered alone, her heart heavy with the weight of her lineage. She could feel the magic pulsing through her veins, begging to be unleashed. Yet the elders warned against deviating from age-old customs. On one fateful night, curiosity led Elara to the edge of the forbidden forest, where legends spoke of a mythical creature who could bridge the worlds of magic and reality. With trepidation, she stepped into the unknown, driven by her desire to connect. As the trees whispered secrets, Elara stumbled upon a magnificent creature, a griffin, majestic and wise. Their eyes met. A connection sparked between them, one that transcended her fears and the village's traditions. The griffin shared tales of a world where fear did not dictate the magic one could wield. Inspired, Elara felt the shackles of tradition begin to loosen, urging her to rise and embrace her true identity. But the village elders, sensing a shift in the magic of the land, grew wary of Elara's newfound connection. In their fear, they plotted to sever her ties with the griffin, believing it a threat to their age-old customs. Unaware of their intentions, Elara returned to the griffin, sharing the burden of her fears. Together, they vowed to confront the elders and challenge the very foundation of their traditions. The day of confrontation arrived, and the village square buzzed with tension. Elara stood before her people, her heart racing yet resolute, ready to speak her truth in the face of fear and tradition. As she spoke, her voice trembled with emotion, revealing the beauty of embracing one's true self. The stories of the griffin echoed in her words, weaving a tapestry of hope that began to touch the hearts of the villagers. But fear clung to the hearts of the elders, who shouted their objections, insisting that tradition was sacred. The tension grew palpable, and the villagers were torn between loyalty to their customs and the allure of Elara's vision. In a moment of clarity, Elara remembered the griffin's words about unity and courage. With newfound confidence, she implored her fellow villagers to open their hearts and minds to change, for love could redefine their magic. Gradually, her words began to sink in. Some villagers stepped forward, swayed by her passion and the promise of a brighter future. They began to envision a world where love and magic thrived together, unbound by fear. But the elders, blinded by fear, pushed back harder. They rallied their followers to silence Elara, insisting that deviation from tradition would spell doom for their village and its magic. In the chaos that ensued, Elara felt the weight of despair creeping back in, but she remembered the griffin's wisdom and summoned her magic, channeling it into a brilliant light that illuminated the square and pierced through the darkness. As the light enveloped them, the villagers felt warmth and hope flooding their hearts. They witnessed the power of connection, understanding that true magic resided in unity and love, not in fear. The elders, witnessing the change in their people, faltered. For the first time, they felt the suffocating grip of tradition beginning to loosen. Elara's light ignited a spark of possibility within them as well. Elara seized the moment, offering her hand to the elders, inviting them to join her on this journey of acceptance and change. It was a chance to weave new traditions that honored the past while embracing the future. After a long, tense silence, one elder stepped forward, laying down their fears. With trembling hands and a heart full of hope, they took Elara's hand, signaling a shift in the winds of tradition. Slowly, one by one, other elders joined, extending their hands and breaking the chain of fear that had bound them for generations. The village of Eldermore began to transform, creating a new legacy infused with love and acceptance. With the village united, Elara and the griffin stood tall, proud of their shared journey. Together, They had ignited a revolution of love, proving that tradition could evolve without losing its essence. As the sun dipped below the horizon, Eldermore began to flourish anew, embracing its magic with open hearts. Ilara's bravery had birthed a new era, one where love and fear no longer dictated their paths. In time, Ilara became a guardian of the village, nurturing the bond between magic and humanity. The griffin remained by her side, a symbol of their shared courage and the beauty of breaking barriers. And so, the tale of Ilara and the griffin echoed through the ages, a reminder that fear can connect us, but love has the power to set us free. The village of Eldermore thrived, forever changed by one brave witch's willingness to embrace the unknown. In a world where tradition often reigns supreme, let us remember the courage it takes to challenge the status quo. Embrace love, seek connection, and dare to break the barriers that hold us back. The moon hung low over Eldermore, illuminating the faces of villagers gathering in the square. Whispers of fear echoed among them, remnants of old beliefs that bound their hearts. They had seen the witch's magic, yet some could not bear to accept it. Was this new path worth the risk? As the villagers deliberated, Eldon, the village elder, stepped forward, his voice trembling yet resolute. "We must face our fears together," he urged, recalling the witch's promise of a brighter tomorrow. His words resonated, igniting a flicker of hope within their hearts. Meanwhile, the witch, Ilara, prepared for a ritual that would bind the village's fate to her magic. She gathered herbs and crystals, her heart heavy with the weight of expectations. In her mind, the visions of unity danced, but the shadows of doubt loomed larger. The night of the ritual arrived, and the village square was adorned with lanterns, casting a warm glow. Villagers hesitated, their fear palpable in the air. Ilara, sensing their trepidation, spoke softly yet firmly. "Only together can we break the chains of our tradition." As she began the incantation, the air shimmered with energy, drawing in the village's collective fears. Alara's voice rose, weaving through the tension. With each word, she sought to transform their trepidation into courage, urging them to embrace the unknown. Suddenly, a gust of wind swept through, extinguishing some lanterns and sending gasps through the crowd. The darkness felt alive, a reminder of their fears. Yet, in that moment of chaos, Alara felt a spark of unity amongst the villagers as they clung to each other for support. With renewed determination, Alara raised her voice even higher, calling forth the village's bravery. "Fear can unite us, but love will guide our steps." The villagers began to chant along with her, their voices mingling, drowning out the shadows that threatened to overtake them. As the final words of the incantation flowed from her lips, a dazzling light erupted from the center of the square. The villagers gasped, their fears morphing into awe as they witnessed the manifestation of their collective dreams. The air crackled with magic and hope. In that moment, the barriers that once separated them began to crumble. Eldon wept tears of joy, realizing that love could indeed conquer the fears rooted in tradition. As the villagers embraced, they understood that change was not the enemy, but a path toward a brighter future. Elara stepped forward, her heart swelling with pride and love for her newfound friends. "Together, we can build a village where tradition thrives alongside transformation," she declared, her eyes sparkling with potential. Hope surged within them all as they envisioned a new Eldermore. With their hearts intertwined through shared experiences, Eldermore began to embrace the beauty of both the old and the new. The traditions that once bound them were now celebrated, infused with the love they had chosen to cultivate together. Each festival now told a story of connection. However, whispers of doubt still lingered amongst a few. A faction of traditionalists resisted the changes, clinging tightly to their fears. They held clandestine meetings, plotting to undermine Elara's influence and restore the old ways. Dissent brewed silently among the shadows, Elara sensed the growing unrest and knew she had to act decisively. She reached out to Eldon, and together they devised a plan to bridge the divide. They envisioned a gathering where all voices could be heard, a chance to foster understanding and heal the rift. As the day of the gathering approached, excitement mixed with anxiety. The village buzzed with anticipation, but the traditionalists remained skeptical. Would they truly embrace this opportunity for dialogue, or would fear prevail once more? The tension was thick as the day arrived. Finally, the sun began to set, casting a golden hue over the square. Elara and Eldon stood side by side, welcoming villagers to share their thoughts. As voices rose and echoed through the twilight, each story unveiled layers of pain and hope, connecting hearts in unexpected ways. One by one, villagers shared their fears, their dreams, and their histories. From tales of loss to stories of love, the atmosphere shifted from guarded to open. Alara watched in awe as the space transformed into a sanctuary of understanding, every voice woven into a tapestry of shared experience. Then, a young woman, Mira, stepped forward, trembling yet determined. I feared the witch's magic, but it has brought us together in ways I never imagined, she confessed. Her honesty resonated deeply, stirring emotions and prompting others to follow suit, breaking down the final walls. As the night deepened, the gathering transformed into a celebration of connection and resilience. Laughter and tears mingled as villagers embraced one another, forging bonds that transcended their fears. Elara's heart soared, realizing they were truly breaking barriers together. As the gathering concluded, Eldon addressed the crowd with gratitude. Today marks a new chapter for Eldermore, where we honor tradition while embracing change. Together, we will build a village where love reigns, free from the chains of fear, he proclaimed, hope lighting up the faces around him. Elara's heart swelled with pride as she realized the depth of their transformation. The village of Eldermore now stood as a beacon of hope, proving that through love and connection, even the strongest traditions could be reshaped. The journey was far from over, but they had taken their first steps into a future forged by unity. Elara stood at the edge of the village, the whispers of trepidation swirling around her. The villagers of Eldermore were grappling with change, their hearts heavy with uncertainty. Yet, as she took a deep breath, a flicker of determination ignited her spirit, ready to confront the fears that bound them. Gathering the villagers, Elara raised her voice, calling for unity. We must not let fear dictate our path. Her words resonated, igniting a spark of courage among the crowd. Faces once clouded by doubt began to shine with a newfound hope. As the villagers listened, Elara shared stories of their ancestors who faced similar fears. The tales of bravery woven through generations reminded them that strength lay in their shared history. She invoked the spirits of the past to guide them forward, uniting their hearts. With each tale, the villagers began to step closer to one another, their hands reaching out. Empathy replaced fear, binding their souls in a tapestry of trust. The air crackled with the magic of connection, transforming their hesitations into a collective resolve. However, not all were convinced. A figure emerged from the shadows, his voice dripping with skepticism. Tradition is our shield, change will bring chaos. His words cut through the unity like a chill, igniting whispers of dissent among the villagers. Alara, undeterred, approached the figure. And what has tradition brought us? She challenged. Fear and division? Our ancestors adapted. It's time we embrace our legacy by evolving. The tension crackled as silence fell, all eyes on the two. As murmurs erupted, Elara's heart raced. She understood that only through connection could they overcome this barrier. With a deep breath, she shared her own fears of losing her identity amidst change, forging a bond with those who felt the same. Moved by her vulnerability, The villagers began to share their own fears and hopes. One by one, they stepped forward, weaving a rich tapestry of emotions that reflected their collective struggle. The fear of the unknown transformed into a shared journey. The shadowy figure, now softened by their stories, hesitated. Alara seized the moment, extending her hand toward him. Join us. Together, we can redefine our traditions and create a legacy filled with love and connection, not fear. With a heavy breath, the figure stepped forward, hesitation etched on his face. The crowd held its breath, awaiting his response. In that moment, all knew that the path ahead was uncertain, but they stood ready to confront their fears together. Finally, he spoke, his voice steadier than before. I see now that fear can isolate us, but this village thrives on connection. I will stand with you, willing to embrace this change together. Cheers erupted as unity filled the air. With newfound strength, they decided to hold a festival celebrating their diversity and unity. Ilara envisioned a night where tradition intertwined with innovation, allowing their cultures to flourish in harmony. Excitement buzzed through the village. As Alara prepared for the festival, she felt the weight of her ancestors' spirits guiding her. Their wisdom whispered in her ears, reminding her that true strength lies not in the past, but in the courage to forge a new path. On the festival night, the village was alive with light and laughter. Alara watched as people of all ages came together, sharing stories of their backgrounds. Differences became points of celebration, weaving their unique identities into a vibrant tapestry. As the night deepened, a sense of magic enveloped Eldermore. Elara led a ritual honoring their ancestors, blending old traditions with new expressions. The villagers joined her, their voices harmonizing in an enchanting melody that resonated deep within their souls. The air buzzed with energy as the night unfolded. Joyful dances took place, each step symbolizing their journey from fear to connection. Elara twirled among them, feeling the weight of tradition transform into a celebration of love and unity. However, deep in the shadows, remnants of doubt lingered. A few villagers exchanged wary glances, their hearts not yet fully convinced. Alara sensed this unease and understood that the journey to unity would require more than just one night of celebration. The next day, Alara gathered her closest friends, determined to address the lingering fears. We need to create spaces for open dialogue, she proposed. Let's ensure that everyone's voice is heard, not just during festivals, but every day. Inspired by her words, her friends rallied the community, setting up gatherings where fears and hopes could be shared openly. The villagers began to express their anxieties, finding solace in the understanding of one another's experiences. As days turned into weeks, these gatherings became a staple in Eldermore. Alara watched as connections deepened, fears began to dissolve, and the village transformed into a sanctuary of acceptance and love. Their journey of breaking barriers was truly underway. Yet, not everyone embraced these changes. A faction emerged, clinging to the old ways, resistant to the idea of unity. Their leader, a stern elder, publicly challenged Ilara, accusing her of threatening their heritage and identity. Faced with this opposition, Ilara remained calm. Change does not erase our history. It enriches it, she replied passionately. Her voice resonated through the crowd, drawing both supporters and skeptics into a heated discussion about their future. The elders' faction rallied around him, chanting their commitment to tradition. Ilara realized that this was not just a clash of beliefs, but a fundamental struggle for identity. She felt the weight of her responsibility to guide her village through this turmoil. Determined to bridge the divide, Alara organized a council meeting. She invited both supporters of tradition and advocates of change, hoping to foster understanding between the two sides. It was a bold step, yet essential for their future. During the meeting, the elder spoke first, articulating fears of losing their identity. Tradition grounds us. Without it, we drift into chaos. His voice carried the weight of history, stirring emotions within the room. Alara listened intently, empathizing with the elders' concerns. She then stood, addressing the crowd. I too fear losing our essence, but we are more than our traditions. We are alive, evolving, and our heritage can grow alongside us. The dialogue continued, each side sharing stories and experiences, slowly bridging the gap of misunderstanding. Elora saw hope glimmering in their eyes as they began to recognize the strength in their diversity rather than viewing it as a threat. In that pivotal moment, an unexpected voice arose, a young villager who had been silent until now. What if we could honor our past while embracing change? Questions hung in the air, inviting further exploration of their collective identity. Ilara felt a rush of excitement at the young villager's wisdom. Yes, she exclaimed. Tradition can serve as a foundation, but we must build upon it. Together, we can forge a richer legacy, one that celebrates who we are today. The room buzzed with energy as ideas flowed freely. Ideas for new traditions began emerging, ones that intertwined the old with the new, allowing for a celebration of their heritage without discarding it. Hope was blooming in Eldermore. Days turned into nights as the villagers collaborated to create a festival honoring their past while embracing the future. Elara felt the weight of responsibility lift as excitement replaced fear, uniting them in a shared purpose. As the day of the festival approached, Elara found herself filled with anticipation. She recognized the power of connection, knowing that this celebration would showcase their resilience. The villagers were ready to embrace their unified identity. Finally, the festival day arrived, transforming Eldermore into a vibrant tapestry of colors and sounds. Laughter echoed through the streets as the villagers decorated their homes with symbols of both tradition and innovation. It was a day of celebration and unity. As the sun set, illuminating the sky with hues of orange and pink, the villagers gathered in the central square. Alara looked around, feeling a deep sense of pride as she witnessed the culmination of their efforts and the spirit of community thriving. The festival began with Alara sharing a heartfelt speech, recounting their journey from fear to connection. She emphasized that every villager's voice mattered, uniting them with the power of their shared experience and collective dreams. With the speech concluding, the villagers erupted into cheers, their spirits lifted, they danced and celebrated, embodying the essence of unity. Fear had been replaced by joy, and the promise of a brighter future sparkled in the air. However, as the festivities continued, Ilara noticed the stern elder watching from a distance, conflicted emotions playing across his face. She understood that the journey was still not over. They needed to continue nurturing their bonds. Determined to reach the elder, Alara approached him after the festivities. Your voice is valuable to us, and we want to include you in our journey forward, she said gently, hoping to bridge the gap that still remained. The elder looked into Alara's eyes, recognizing her sincerity. I fear change, yet I see the hope in your vision, he confessed. Alara felt a surge of warmth, understanding that even the most resistant hearts could be opened. Let us collaborate then, Ilara proposed, her voice filled with hope. We can create new traditions together, ones that honor our past while embracing the future. Together, we can redefine what it means to be a part of Eldermore. The elder nodded, a newfound resolve glimmering in his eyes. I will stand alongside you, Ilara. Let us guide our village toward a future where tradition and innovation coexist harmoniously. Hope blossomed anew in Eldermore. In the following weeks, the villagers worked hand in hand, crafting new rituals that celebrated their diverse heritage. As stories were shared, bonds deepened, and the air filled with laughter, Ilara felt the spirit of Eldermore truly united. The day of the next festival arrived, and Eldermore was alive with excitement. As the sun rose, the villagers danced and sang, embodying the spirit of unity they had forged, honoring their past while celebrating their bright future together. As Alara looked around, her heart swelled with pride. She saw the elder, now a vital part of the celebration, embracing the new traditions with open arms. Unity had truly been forged, and the villagers stood together, ready to face whatever came next. With the festival winding down, Ilara knew their journey was just beginning. The bonds they had created would sustain them through trials ahead. As they celebrated under the starlit sky, hope illuminated their path, a testament to their courage to change. As the echoes of laughter faded, a palpable tension hung in the air. The villagers, though united, couldn't shake the fear that their traditions might clash with the changes they had embraced. Alara sensed this unease and knew she had to act quickly to maintain the newfound bonds of their community. Alara gathered the villagers at the heart of the village, her heart racing as the weight of expectation rested on her shoulders. Together, we can navigate these fears, she declared, her voice steady despite her own doubt. The faces around her were a mix of hope and skepticism, a reflection of their struggle. As she spoke, the village elder, a figure of unwavering tradition, stepped forward, his brow furrowed with concern. Change brings uncertainty, Ilara. Are we ready to abandon centuries of our customs? His voice trembled, revealing a deep-seated fear that resonated with many. Alara took a deep breath, feeling the weight of his words. Tradition is important, but so is growth. We can honor our past while embracing our future, she urged, her determination unwavering. She could feel the collective breath of the villagers, caught between fear and hope as they listened intently. A young woman named Leora, inspired by Alara's words, stood up and spoke. What if we could blend our traditions with our new realities? We can honor both. Her voice rang out, and a glimmer of courage sparked in the crowd, igniting whispers of agreement. As Leora's words rippled through the villagers, Ilara felt a flicker of hope. Yet, shadows loomed in her heart. She knew there were those who would resist change fiercely. A divide was possible, and she had to navigate it carefully to prevent their unity from fracturing. Days passed as the villagers debated their future, and tensions escalated. Alara hosted meetings, hoping to foster understanding. However, not everyone was willing to embrace the changes. Voices raised, and arguments erupted, echoing through the once peaceful village. The rift deepened when an elder claimed that Alara's ideas were leading them down a dark path. Fear gripped the villagers again, and Alara felt the weight of their expectations crushing her. She knew she had to find a way to mend their hearts before it was too late. Desperate to bridge the divide, Alara sought out Leora, and together they devised a plan. They decided to host a gathering that would showcase both their traditions and the new ways. It would be a celebration of unity, a way to connect the past and present. The announcement of the gathering brought mixed reactions, with some villagers excited while others expressed skepticism. Alara understood the fear that clouded their hearts, but remained determined to prove that change could coexist with tradition. As the day of the gathering approached, Alara and Leora worked tirelessly, preparing a space that honored their customs while inviting new traditions. A beautiful tapestry depicting their village's history hung prominently, symbolizing their journey of unity. On the day of the gathering, a palpable sense of excitement filled the village. Alara stood at the center, her heart racing as she looked around at the faces of her people. Today, they would either strengthen their bonds or risk reverting to old fears. As the festivities began, Alara shared stories of their traditions, illustrating how they intertwined with their new ways. The villagers listened, their fears slowly melting away as they began to see the potential for a harmonious existence. Leora then showcased a new dance that combined elements from both the old and new traditions. Villagers joined in, laughter echoing through the air, erasing the remnants of doubt that had lingered. It was a moment of connection, a celebration of unity. As the night wore on, Alara felt the atmosphere shift into one of acceptance. The villagers began to embrace the changes, and she could see the walls of fear crumbling. Yet, deep down, she knew that not everyone was ready to let go of the past completely. Underneath the stars, Leora approached Alara with a concerned look. What if some of our people refuse to accept this change? She asked, her voice tinged with worry. Ilara understood her fears. The journey was far from over, and the true test lay ahead. Ilara reassured Leora, "This is just the beginning. We will face these challenges together, just like we always have. Our strength lies in our unity and willingness to adapt." She held Leora's gaze, instilling confidence with her words. As the gathering drew to a close, Ilara felt a swell of pride for her village. They had begun to bridge the gap between the past and future. But as they celebrated, a distant figure watched from the shadows, a remnant of tradition who threatened their hard-earned unity. Ilara sensed something amiss as the villagers dispersed. The atmosphere felt charged, and an instinct told her that their trials were far from over. She would need to confront the lingering fears and the figure who represented them before they could fully embrace their new path. As she moved through the village, Ilara could hear whispers of dissent. A few villagers openly questioned the changes, their voices laced with fear and uncertainty. It was clear that the shadows of tradition were not easily dispelled, and Ilara felt a knot tighten in her stomach. Determined, Ilara sought out the village elder once more. She needed his wisdom to combat the rising tide of fear. Perhaps he could help bridge the divide between tradition and change, guiding the village to a harmonious future. The elder welcomed her with weary eyes, the burden of his age showing. "Elara, my child, this change frightens many. They believe it threatens our way of life. We must find a way to reassure them," he said, his voice heavy with concern. Elara nodded, absorbing his words. "Together, we can create a ceremony that honors our traditions while showcasing our new path. We can prove that we do not have to choose one over the other. We can embrace both." Hope flickered in her heart as she spoke. The elder considered her proposal, his furrowed brow slowly easing. "Perhaps this is the key to bridging our divide. A ceremony that binds us to our ancestors while charting a new course," he mused, his gaze softening. Together, they began to plan. Back in the village square, Alara rallied her fellow villagers, her voice ringing out like a beacon of hope. "We will hold a ceremony that honors what has been and embraces what will be. Let us gather as one, uniting our traditions and our future." The villagers responded with renewed energy, excitement bubbling up as they began preparing for the ceremony. They worked together to create decorations and gather traditional items, intertwining their customs with new symbols of hope and unity. As the day of the ceremony approached, Elara felt a sense of anticipation mixed with dread. She knew that the success of their efforts hinged on whether they could truly bridge the gap between the old and the new. The stakes were high, and she felt their weight on her shoulders. On the day of the ceremony, the village was adorned with a beautiful tapestry of their past and present. Elara stood at the center, ready to speak, her heart pounding as she faced the gathered crowd. This was her moment to unite them all. Elara took a deep breath and began. "Today we honor our past and welcome our future. Let us remember our ancestors while celebrating the bonds we share now. Together, we can create a path that honors both tradition and progress." Her voice resonated with passion and courage. As she spoke, a sense of unity washed over the crowd. The villagers began to chant, their voices rising in harmony, echoing the sentiments of connection and bridging divides. Elara could feel the energy shift, fear being replaced by hope. The ceremony reached its peak with a symbolic lighting of the ancestral fire, representing the fusion of their traditions with new beginnings. Elara watched as sparks flew into the night, each representing a shared hope for the future. But as the fire crackled and the villagers celebrated, the shadowy figure from before reappeared at the edge of the gathering. Their presence cast a dark pall over the joyous occasion, a stark reminder of the fears that still lingered. Elara noticed the figure and felt a chill run down her spine. With courage, she stepped forward, determined to confront the embodiment of their fears. The village needed to see that unity could triumph over the shadows of doubt. "Why do you hide in the shadows?" Elara called out, her voice steady, resonating with the strength of her convictions. The figure stepped forward, revealing an elder with deep lines of worry etched into his face, representing the voice of tradition. The elder's voice trembled as he spoke. You tread a dangerous path, young witch. Change can bring chaos. Our traditions have kept us safe for generations. His words were heavy with the weight of fear, but Elara stood her ground, unwavering. Elara replied, her heart racing. But stagnation can lead to decay. We must adapt to survive. Our strength lies in our ability to grow together, not apart. She felt the power of her words resonate with the villagers around her, their hearts echoing her sentiment. The elder hesitated, uncertainty flickering in his eyes. Elara pressed on. Our traditions can evolve. We can honor our ancestors while embracing what lies ahead. Let's not let fear dictate our future. The crowd murmured in agreement, hope igniting. The elder took a step back, contemplating her words. Suddenly, a child from the crowd stepped forward, looking up at him with innocent curiosity. Can't we have both, grandfather? We can sing the old songs and dance to the new ones too. The elder's heart softened at the child's words, a reminder of the true essence of their community. Elara seized the moment. Together, we can create a future that honors both our past and our present. Let's not be afraid to embrace change. With a deep breath, the elder finally nodded, the tension slowly dissipating. Perhaps you are right, Elara. Perhaps our traditions can evolve. I will stand with you to guide our village towards this new path, he proclaimed, his voice steady. The crowd erupted in applause, the air filled with renewed energy. Elara felt a wave of relief wash over her. The bonds of unity had prevailed. Together, they could honor their past while forging a new future, hand in hand. As the ceremony concluded, Elara looked around at her village, her heart swelling with pride. They had faced their fears and chosen to embrace change together. It was a moment of triumph, a testament to their strength and resilience. Later, Elara and Leora stood together at the edge of the village, watching the stars twinkle overhead. We did it, Elara. We brought them together, Leora said, her voice filled with awe. Elara smiled, knowing their journey was far from complete, but they had taken a significant step forward. With renewed determination, Elara said, there is still work to be done. We must ensure that fear never divides us again. Together, we will weave our future into a tapestry that honors all voices and all stories. Her heart was set on the path ahead. As they turned to head back to the village, a soft breeze carried the laughter of children playing nearby. It was a beautiful reminder that hope and unity thrived in their hearts, and with every step forward, they were writing a new chapter in their story.